All right, let's dive right into this explainer and unpack the fascinating, honestly kind of complex truth behind the ultimate billionaire status symbol. When you hear the words private island, your mind probably jumps straight to, turquoise waters, swaying palm trees, and just total uninterrupted peace. It's the absolute ultimate dream of escape, right? But as we're going to see today, beneath those pristine sandy beaches lies a hidden world of staggering engineering, intense legal battles, and massive ecological responsibility.
So what does it actually take to own your own world? Because the sheer scale of ambition here is just incredible. Buying a private island isn't just about snagging a fancy vacation home. You are essentially acquiring a self-sustaining micronation. Think about it. You aren't just the homeowner anymore. You've got to be the mayor, the utility company, the waste management service, and the conservation officer all rolled into one. It really begs the question, what kind of resources are actually required to build a world entirely from scratch?
Well, to give you an idea of the resources we're talking about, just take a look at that staggering number, $300 million. That is what Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison paid back in 2012 for 98% of the Hawaiian island of Lanai. And he didn't just buy a mega mansion on the beach. He bought 141 square miles to create what he literally called a prosperous and sustainable Eden. We're talking widespread renewable energy, electric car charging stations, even agricultural exports. And the crazy part? That $300 million purchase price was really just the entry ticket.
There's a famous saying, if a man's home is his castle, a private island is his kingdom. And that perfectly captures this age-old allure of something called islamania. It's this deep obsession that has driven kings, tycoons, and celebrities for centuries to seek out ultimate privacy and control. Because islands are, by definition, surrounded by water, they naturally create these impenetrable boundaries. They offer a level of security and sheer independence that you simply cannot buy anywhere on the mainland.
Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover the private island fantasy, the logistical nightmare, legal red tape, eco-haven or ecological bomb, artificial islands in Dubai, and finally, the future of paradise. Let's get into it.
Section 1. The Private Island Fantasy.
This postcard-perfect illusion fuels a massive market. Look at famous retreats like Richard Branson's Necker Island in the British Virgin Islands, or Skorpios in Greece, which heiress Ekaterina Rybolovlev bought for a reported $150 million. These properties showcase the absolute pinnacle of exclusive privacy. Billionaires use these isolated havens to completely disconnect, dodge public scrutiny, and sometimes even generate incredible revenue through exclusive luxury tourism. When you own the whole island, you dictate exactly who gets to step foot on it.
But there is a massive, massive disconnect between the dream and the reality. The dream is white sand beaches, complete privacy, hammocks, and crystal clear waters. But the reality? Behind every serene beach hammock is a hidden infrastructure that is frankly mind-boggling. We're talking incredibly expensive desalination plants just to make the seawater drinkable, massive diesel generators, and complex supply chains where literally every single nail, plank of wood, and drop of fuel has to be shipped in across the ocean. What costs $1 on the mainland might cost you 5 times as much out there.
Section 2. The Logistical Nightmare.
Just building and maintaining these properties requires a secret billion-dollar economy. You don't just call up a local contractor. You need a vast network of highly specialized professionals, real estate brokers, master architects, environmental consultants who actually understand marine biology, marine transport operators who can navigate tricky tides just to deliver your groceries, and of course, top-tier security personnel. It is a massive logistical operation just to keep the lights on and the water running.
And speaking of keeping the lights on, let's talk about power generation. Since islands are entirely cut off from the mainland grid, owners have to figure it out themselves. Now, while many try to transition to solar and wind power to be more eco-friendly, there's still a heavy, often really loud reliance on expensive diesel generators. Why? Because running an underwater cable straight to the mainland is incredibly difficult and almost always prohibitively expensive. You are 100% responsible for your own energy independence.
Section 3.
Legal red tape.
If you think closing on a house is stressful, buying an island means navigating an absolute bureaucratic minefield. You've got to do 30-plus years of exhaustive title tracing because island records are notoriously messy. You need current, reliable GPS boundary surveys because, hey, your property line might literally wash away with the tide. Then there are coastal erosion and setback rules, marine reserve and wildlife protections, and figuring out complex water rights. Like, do you own the seabed or just the sand? Plus, many countries have strict cross-border taxation rules or outright bans on foreign ownership of coastal land. You might even find out the public has a legal right to navigate right up to your private beach.
A huge piece of this legal maze involves something called beneficial ownership. This is the strict legal requirement to name the true, actual owner of a property, even if it's hidden behind complex offshore shell companies or trusts. Historically, buyers used places like the British Virgin Islands to buy islands secretly for tax purposes and privacy. But today, governments worldwide are aggressively cracking down on this. Strict anti-money laundering laws are forcing buyers to reveal their true identities to banks and regulators. The days of just hiding behind a trust are pretty much over.
Section 4. Eco-haven or ecological bomb.
To really see this dynamic in action, let's look at two incredibly different projects in Indonesia's Riau Islands. On one side, you have Cempedak Private Island. They prioritized ESG features, environmental, social, and governance principles. They use sustainable bamboo and wood architecture, and they actually empower the local community. The overall outcome? A highly successful eco-luxury resort. On the flip side, you have Fantasi Island, which suffered from severe ecological degradation, major regulatory issues, and community conflict, leading to mismanagement and failure. It perfectly proves that without strict sustainability and local inclusion, an island investment can completely destroy the very ecosystem that made it valuable in the first place.
Section 5. Artificial Islands and Dubai.
Now, if buying an island isn't enough, constructing artificial islands requires an absolutely absurd, multi-step engineering process. Step 1. You literally dredge millions of tons of sand from the ocean floor. Step 2. You construct massive rock barriers to hold that shape together. And Step 3. You constantly reinforce those newly formed shorelines against relentless ocean currents. It is an unbelievably expensive undertaking that completely reshapes the natural coastal environment, often seriously altering marine habitats along the way.
The absolute most famous example of this is Nakhil's The World Islands in Dubai, a massive archipelago of 300 artificial islands literally shaped like a map of the globe. Now, what's fascinating here is that the 2008 financial crash left this massive project as a sandy ghost town for over a decade. It totally stalled. But today, it is finally experiencing a huge luxury hospitality revival. Ultra-luxury resort brands like Anantara and projects like the Heart of Europe are stepping in. It proves that while the timeline was severely delayed, the appetite for ultra-exclusive, manufactured island real estate is roaring right back.
Section 6. The future of paradise.
Here's the harsh reality. Despite the most advanced desalination plants and the thickest reinforced seawalls, climate change is introducing severe existential threats. We are talking about rising sea levels slowly swallowing those low-lying beaches. We're looking at stronger, way more frequent tropical hurricanes that can wipe out millions of dollars of infrastructure in a matter of hours. Add in relentless coastal erosion reshaping boundaries day by day and depleting freshwater supplies due to changing climates. These are massive challenges that absolutely no amount of billionaire wealth can simply buy away.
So, I leave you with this final thought to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. When the seas rise and the storms hit, who really owns the island? The billionaire or the ocean? You can hire the best lawyers, build the most advanced sustainable architecture, and dredge millions of tons of sand to build your kingdom. But while humans can purchase the deed to paradise, nature is always going to maintain the final authority. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the hidden world of private islands. I hope this gives you a completely new perspective the next time you see a postcard of a pristine, isolated beach.